Evening, guys. Every other BTWN vidcast we do, we normally start by going, "Hi, how you doing? How you doing, Kurt?" Don't worry about it this week. What we are going to talk about, though, is quite important to everybody if you are an investigator, and that's the same old argument people have, which is equipment. There's no right and wrong answer to equipment. So I think, Kurt, you'll agree that you can't say this is a predefined kit, stick to it. If you buy that predefined kit off eBay, you're being ripped off, and there's a reason for it, which I'll get into very, very shortly. So first things first, Kurt, are you cool if I start off with something?
Let's do it.
Cool beans, right? So the first thing is CCTV. Everybody seems to think that CCTV on an investigation is the be-all and end-all. Now, don't get me wrong, CCTV is good. It's another set of eyes that does another set of recording, but logistically setting it up is it's hard work. If you know what you're doing with it, then it's perfectly fine. If you're used to doing it, it's perfectly fine. But the setup of CCTV can be really messy really quickly. There are actually different types of CCTV, which there's the newer ones coming out at the moment. So you got DVRs, which is what everybody uses on the house. NVRs, which is a network-based version. Very, very high quality cameras. But the problem is you've got to run them through a network-style cable. And again, it can be very messy. And there's new ones, Kurt, and I haven't even told you about this yet, Kurt. We came across them in work, and they're called heat sensing cameras.
Oh.
They're not, people are under the impression of thermal. They're not thermal. What it is they've got a sensor on the bottom which looks for heat, and when it sees heat, it triggers for recording. And we've had, where I work, the retail environment I work, we've had loads of people coming in, and they misread it, and they think it's a thermal camera. And it's not. It's CCTV with thermal trigger. So only triggers the recording on thermal. So just had to get that off my chest while I had the first 5 seconds. But Kate, have you got any equipment you would like to say yay or nay to?
Actually, I want to go back to what you were saying about what you got. I want to know, how much does it cost?
Okay, first things first. So standard CCTV, you could pay, if you were looking in a shop, reputable style environment in Britain, starting at £200, so $240-ish in America. They can go right the way up to about £700. Now, again, as much as we love eBay, everybody loves eBay. I'd show you my phone on eBay at the moment and the crap that I buy on a regular basis. Even up to this morning, I was buying stuff this morning. Don't just know what you're buying. Don't go on there and buy something because it's fantastic. Because like any environment, the second you put a professional field or an expert field on it, so in the description of the item, the price goes up. So if you went and bought an infrared thermometer, and the infrared thermometer you went to buy was for general use, it may cost you $10, £8. The second you put thermometer for ghost hunting or paranormal investigating, expect to pay £30 or £40. People notice a bracket in the market and they aim for it. So you may find an infrared illuminator on eBay for £4. Somebody will take that infrared illuminator apart, put a battery clip onto it to put a battery onto it, and triple the price of that thing, and people will pay for it. Just be very careful with what you're buying, guys. So yeah, that's another rant to add to the list of rants I'm going to probably go on tonight, Kate. Not going to lie to you.
But nothing wrong with that. I've bought numerous things off of eBay. Flipped them, turned around, tried them, didn't like it, and then I ended up selling it on eBay. It's like most of the equipment that your average group uses, they rely on EMF devices and the Mel meter, you know, and all sorts of stuff. And the way I look at it is, with the Mel meter, I mean, I'm shocked in the paranormal field with equipment and gear, kit, whatever you call it, hasn't gone beyond where it's at right now. And I kind of step back and look at some of the groups out there and some of the paranormal field, and they haven't made that jump into something really new. It's always the focus on EMF. I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I got a REM pod. I have my REM Mel. I have EMF little pieces of kit that detect EMF. I'm still in that I'm kind of caught up in that stage, but I don't know when the next big jump is going to take place. Are we going to see it on TV? Are we going to hear about it? I think the paranormal field with gear in 2017, minus a few little things, is pretty much stagnated. I mean, I like using the REM pod. I like using the millimeter, but at the same time, I feel like everything is stagnated. You know, I mean,
I'll agree with you on that. No, I don't understand what you mean. Everything's stagnating. There is something I do notice though, and I follow a gentleman on Instagram. I'm pretty sure, guys, his name's Rob Mocca, ROBMOCCA. Get over there and check his page out. He keeps posting pieces of circuitry up. Now, I'm used to coding. I'm used to playing around with electronics. I've been a hobbyist for years. It's always been a pastime I've had to one side to add to the list of many pastimes I give myself, which leave me with no spare time at all. And story of my life, man, I swear to God. But he keeps posting pictures of Arduinos or an Arduino Mini or an Uno, sorry, or microbits. And I've got this funny feeling. He posted a picture before. If I can get the picture, I'll put it up just there. The picture was of an Arduino and loads of smaller microbits and about 9 of them. I've got a funny feeling he's trying to build some form of sensor to sensor all the rooms off. Now, this guy, he sits there and he looks at something and he'll go, he looks outside of a box, best way of putting it, and he's looking at some of the equipment out there, and you can see especially on Instagram, you can see him ticking. Things are changing. He's upgrading this, changing this, modifying this. He's not stopping. He's just doing it the way it should be done. I've got this little belief that in the future, people like him, the coders, the hackers, not hackers in the term of I'm going to rob your bank. The hackers are the people who buy something and reverse engineer it. These guys are the ones who are going to push us further. The nerds are going to get us there. As much as I'd like to believe spiritualism will get us to where we need to be, I don't think it will, because it's had 130, 140 years for spiritualism to push us further, and we haven't gone further. However, the advancements in technology over the past, say, 10 years have probably got us more verifiable evidence than spiritualism ever will. So equipment's massive, but people need to realize how big it is for us. Sorry, Kate.
No, I was just going to add to what you were talking about with spiritualism. I mean, basically they rely on seances. I mean, back in the day, I mean, in half of the seances were debunked anyhow.
Yeah.
So I mean, but again, we got to rely on technology. I mean, when it comes down to it, like you said, like reverse engineering. I mean, that's the way to do it. But people like me have to rely, let's say, on somebody like yourself to come up with the next best thing tech-wise, because I am definitely not a tech junkie.
No.
I can't even run a computer without Mo getting on the computer and helping me.
No, it's all good.
No, I admit that, dude. I fully admit it, dude.
Don't worry,
I mean, basically, but spiritualism isn't.
See, the thing that catches me with regards to spiritualism is every single piece of proof that I am aware of with regards to spiritualism had some form of technology involved, whether it was to capture it. Because, come on, you can't capture nothing without, in my eyes, you can't capture nothing in this field without technology. If anything other than that is hearsay, it can always be debunked. Now, don't get me wrong, anybody can fake a photograph. Anybody. And you know what? There's enough apps out there which will ruin your day. There's enough apps which will make it like you've caught the holy grail of evidence. But you know what? It's the nerds who are going to catch it. It's the geeks, like the tech heads, who are going to sit there and psychoanalyze what you've done, or the piece of evidence that you've put forward. If it's fake, then do you know what? Eventually it'll get ripped apart. Somebody always will. But in the same breath, it also happens the same with genuine evidence. Somebody will come forward and say, and sadly, it's sometimes us tech heads who will come forward and go, that's just artifact off the lens. That's just pixelation. It's bad lighting. There's dirt on the lens. It's something.
But you need you need people like that. I mean, ultimately, you need tech geeks to do that, because what happens is all of a sudden social media is flooded with somebody that sees some light that, you know what I'm saying, that could be like a lens flare, it could be a bug, it could be anything, and all of a sudden we were, look at the evidence we caught. I mean, I see it on Facebook, Twitter, all the other, and I'm just like, I don't want to say bullshit to it, but because I really don't want to piss on anybody's parade. But there are times where I've just said no, it isn't what you think it is. Like the old camera strap. That one's the best one. That somebody always screws up and has a camera strap in it and claims it to be something they picked up in grandma's house, who passed away 20 years ago.
Yeah, I love the pictures where people seem to take a photograph of what looks like convenient smoke or something like that, and there's an ashtray in the picture. I've had 2 of them sent to me in the past. I wasn't smoking, and nobody in my house smokes. However, we caught this mist, and I'm like, there's an ashtray in the picture. Come on. Anyway, total and utter digression from the way I was going to take the show. What I am going to do is I'm going to say what I carry with me. So if I ever when I used to go out investigating, I'd make sure I had 2 batteries for every camera, being video cameras. Make sure all the video cameras had illuminators. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 illuminators, 8 batteries, each all with memory cards, 2 voice recorders and a Zoom recorder, and a few torches. And that's all I ever really used to take with me, because as much as I like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Kate, I know you're all for the sensors. You've got your K2, you've got REM pods, you've got millimeters.
K2, yeah.
Dude, your house is built on the equipment you've bought. I initially started with 3 bags full of stuff, and then slowly but surely I got rid of it and got rid of it and got rid of it. One of the best things I ever done, nerd-wise, I bought a set of baby monitors, Motorola baby monitors, and I modified one of them so it had a sound. Instead of having speakers, it had an output source, and I put it into a voice recorder, and I could remotely monitor a room with a voice recorder and also with a set of headphones and just record. And that thing was really good. But if you ever ask me how I'd done the mod, I can't remember what circles or what I'd done to do it. If I rip it apart, I could check it. But this is the type of stuff I thought was fantastic, but it served no practical usage that, you do find yourself downsizing quite quickly with some of the stuff you've got.
Oh yeah, I got more crap that's sitting in my closet right now than anything else that I've used in the past, but at times I'm like, I think if you get down to basics, with a few recorders, like you said, make sure you have your batteries checked. I got, so that way I always have illuminators, mostly night vision. And I'm real big on phantom lights. I like that. Or I buy the big white ones, the big square white ones, just in case I want to take it somewhere else. Use it for night. But I just think a lot of this equipment. I mean, I was in Ghost Stop. I think it was the Ghost Store or Ghost Stop in Gettysburg. And I'm looking at the price of what they're charging for kit, and it blew my mind. And then I fell and broke my finger. But that's what I get for talking smack about that store. But no disrespect to them at all. But just the fact of it is, it's so expensive. I don't understand. Minus if you have a TV show and you have a budget, but how you got to learn to modify, like you said. I mean, it's all about modification when it comes to gear, because without it, it's not going to take it to the next step.
Do you know what? Right, I agree with you. Now, what you need to do, though, and this is my opinion, this is my personal opinion, is by the time you get into it, you buy bag loads of stuff. Now, you'll see it on the TV shows. They'll walk in, taps carry van loads of equipment, absolute van loads of stuff across the country. Now, are they still going, by the way?
They're doing podcasts right now. Last time I heard, I don't know.
Cool, that works. I mean,
yeah,
we've done it. So anyway, we've still got a few podcasts up I totally forgot about. But if you look at Taps, they've got van loads of equipment. Now, when I've been to some places in Britain which have been brick and ladder. Now I've took in with me a few cameras, a few torches, a few illuminators, and I've gone with the specific purpose of wanting to catch audio or visual evidence. Now, I've also, at the first time I went there, I carried a full, I've got upstairs in my cupboard, I've got an off-grid CCTV system. It's a CCTV system, 4 cameras, 4 tripods, 18 meters of cable per camera, and it's got a battery enough to, I think the battery will last there 14 about 7 hours constantly.
Wow.
And that's all in a Pelican style box. Now, it was good as it was. I used it once and it ended up not getting used. It's fantastic to say you can get this stuff and then after it, you just don't use it. I would never sit there and review the footage on that because that's 7 hours per camera. That's 4 cameras. That's 28 hours of my life staring, hoping for something to happen.
And that way nothing happens. You're like, oh,
you wasted
28 hours you'll never get back again.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it was 28. Otherwise, the comment section is going to blow up with people saying, you got that wrong. I won't blame you. Do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. But no, with regards to equipment, though, there is one piece of an app, if anything, which I actually do hold faith in, which is an app that me and Kate, we offered our assistance in beta testing for a guy for Ed Bogrowski. He released the AEVPS, which as a piece of software was fantastic, which is the automatic EVP session. EVP. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I was like, it's great. I mean, what I did when I tested it is I put a task cam down next to it. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because of different frequencies or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never picked up anything, but I agree with you 100% that it was the only app I would ever use, put on a phone or an iPad or what have you, or another tablet. You know, it's the only one. Actually, he didn't have it on Apple, but he had it on Android.
Yeah.
But,
right.
If it's still out there, I haven't talked to Ed in a while.
It's still there.
You guys need to download this. It's well worth it. It makes your life a lot easier. You could just set something, your phone aside or tablet aside, and just leave. And that way you could set the questions and everything else.
One thing I loved about it, and please guys, don't think this is some big paid sponsorship for us to mention it. When I first tried the app, I was in an old Air Force base, which had been converted. So I'm in this Air Force base. It's broad daylight. Wasn't allowed to take my phone on site. So what I'd done was I decided, you know what? I'll turn on the AVPS on my phone. So I turned it on. I set the questions, same spaces to 15 seconds and left it running for 8 solid hours. Turned my phone into airplane mode and I left it running. Now, for everybody who watches this show or everybody who listens to what me and Kate have got to say, you know, or you should know by now that I am not a lover of apps for phones. I do believe a phone radiates too much to actually have a usable outcome. I don't think you can't pull too much from it. Now, what I will say with regards to the app, the one thing which I liked about it was it only uses the microphone, just the microphone, nothing else, and that'll do me. I'm happy with that. And I didn't get no evidence from it, but I'm not the only person who was involved in the testing. One of our old team members, Aaron took it with us to the old hospital that we went to in Wales, and he used it there. And if I'm right in believing, he got something on it. I'm pretty sure he got something. I'm pretty sure whatever he got was decent. If I can catch up with him over the next week or so, I'll ask him if he's still got the audio and ask him to send it back to me. But no, he caught something, and he caught something in a room that we found blood in as well, which is kind of cool. I think it might have been somebody was making an indie film. That's all, in my opinion, all it could have been. But there was pentagrams on the walls and symbols all over the place. It was weird. And again, guys, I'll post a picture there or
there. They're good.
Just around this vicinity. I'll post a picture of the room. I didn't take the picture, however, the room is still like that. So that's what it looked like. And he used that app there. So AEVPS, there'll be a link in the link in the description below if you want to go and check it out. But Ed Bogrowski is a fantastic person, made a fantastic app. He used his brain and it worked out really well. The reason we know Ed Bogrowski is because he also released an app for cataloging the equipment and cataloging your evidence. So you could give everything a list. And if I'm right in believing, if I can find out the name of the other app, because I can't remember, I got it years ago. I remember speaking to him, and then I didn't realize it was him who created the app, and then Kurt told me, and I was really happy. So yeah, again, Ed Bogrowski's absolute legend. Check him out. Now, Kurt, you'll hate me for this one, okay?
Okay. I really won't, but that's okay.
Yeah, you will. I've decided over the next month I'm going to run a few tests with the Echo Box.
Okay.
Right, and the reason Kurt will hate me for that is because I know how the Echo Box works. This is going to be fun.
The Echo. I'm not even going to mention the guy who made the Echo Box. I don't know. I don't buy into his theories. That's all.
He apparently, from what I worked out, cut Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, or one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. If I'm wrong, forgive me, I'm going by memory. But he cut the Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven into single syllable chunks, rearranged them, and put them into the app. Now, the reason I want to test it is because I want to know what sensors do what and why. So that, for me, that's why I'll test it. And if it comes out and tells me that it's fake itself, then that's cool. If it comes out and tells me something that I didn't know, then equally as good. I'll eat my words, happily eat my words. But until such a time, let's see how this one pans out. That's all I can do.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, if that's what you're going to work on, tear it up, because I'd love to see the results of that.
Yeah. Well, we've got that.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay a penny for it, but
No.
that's basically it. The way I look at it, for me.
Well, I'm in a big old cemetery on Tuesday, so when I go to the cemetery, I'll launch it there. I'll record what I catch, and I'll send it your way, Kurt, so you can sit there and be amazed and in awe at the amount of sheer evidence it's going to catch.
With all the dead people being so loud, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. They have a lot to say because obviously they were all killed in the cemetery. So yeah, next piece of equipment, which I believe is fantastic, but retrofitted and again used in and like what I like to believe the wrong way, is the Kinect sensor. Now I've got two. I've got two in a bag upstairs that I don't use. They were good when I got them, but when I modded them, but people use them the wrong way. Everyone on the show seems to use them to try and catch the stick figures, the infamous stick figure. Yeah. However, what they don't realize is this camera's 3 separate cameras in one, all doing something at the same time. You can 3D map a situation and record the 3D map. So if something did walk past you, you could physically record it, turn the footage around sideways, and look at what it was. That's an amazing piece of equipment. But
but the way I look at it is, it was not. We'll just tell you, it wasn't the one used by Bill Chappell or Zach Bagans. It's not, but it's great. I mean, I was set up with it thanks to Mo, and I got to use it at the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis in the good suicide room. Well, there's always a suicide room in that place. But where the guy killed himself and his dog, we were in that room for the night, and it was great. We were taking the CCTV cameras and purposely filming these people that were on a ghost tour, and so that way, I think it pissed this lady off. It was great. I guess she laid claim that she's like the head paranormal investigator there, so we purposely crashed her party. So it was definitely fun. But
head paranormal investigator. Was she wearing a SWAT gear?
I'm sorry?
Was she wearing like her SWAT gear, her combat pants?
Actually, she wasn't, but they were using dowsing rods, and I call BS the dowsing rods. I think those are a little new agey for me. Yeah. But
coat hangers, by the way, not dowsing rods.
Coat hangers. They're bent coat hangers, and the only time I've used one when it worked was in Gettysburg. I was at some new age store, and we were looking at them. We were like, "Hey, it's look at these dowsing rods," and they had beads on the end, so your hands so you're not holding too tight, and they don't cross. And the lady told me to go to the spot, and I went to the spot, and they crossed. It was the weirdest thing. But I'm not a firm believer in dowsing rods. She probably had a little spring going underneath her 150-year-old house. You
found like the most infamous thing in a battle site ever with these dowsing rods, and you're like, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. I was totally like that. I mean, it smelled like what do hippies smell like? Hippies smell like
Bullshit.
patchouli oil.
Oh,
You know how
patchouli
you
oil.
smell the patchouli oil, and you know there's a hippie in the distance or a bohemian in the distance, depending on how you look at it.
Oh God,
This is one of those places.
I don't know how to take that. But look, last piece of equipment I want to bring up, which is a piece of equipment that is not really. I just think it's unheard of, and I think it hasn't been given the love it should have been given. Him.
That was cool.
Now,
That was cool.
This is called Leap Motion. It's hard to see whether you can. It's got a name on the back called Leap Motion. Now, I got one of them last year, and what a Leap Motion is as opposed to using a mouse, you can use your hand by hovering your hand over it to do things like there's an app you can get for it, which is a body or a skeleton. And what you can do is you can put your hand up and pinch parts of the body and pull like the jaw off or pull the bones off and rebuild the skull and stuff like that. And it's really good by like augmented reality. There's actually attachments you can get to put them on the front of Oculus Rift to map the environment the environment in front of you. Now, the one thing with it is though, it's 2 infrared sensors, which also have stereoscopic cameras, which measure distance and depth. So, as I was showing before the show, I was showing Kurt, and I'll try and record it for you guys and put it into the show. If I can, it'll be around now. Is when you put the sensor on the table, you can put your hand over it, and your hand it'll recognize what your hand's doing. So before, for instance, I was sticking a finger up a Kurt, and it on the screen was sticking a finger up a Kurt. And I think it's really cool. It's one of them things which you could have put out the way. It doesn't necessarily need to map a hand. It's the same as the Kinect sensor. There are ways you can get it to just show you what's in front of it. So as opposed to being like that, it could be like that. Or now you can see me. You know what I mean? It could be facing you. And if it's facing outwards and something passes it or something happens, it will pick it up. Now,
how far of a distance? I forgot what we talked about.
Realistically, when you're using your hand, probably about half a meter to a meter. But when you're not using your hand and it's pointing in front of you, I think it's going to have a fair distance. I need to do some benchmarks and some tests to see. But because of how unassuming it is, you can pick them up for £30.
Where in the States could we pick something up like that?
I'd suggest jumping on Amazon and getting it on Amazon. But there's a new version of it coming out, but the original version is still fantastic. So
what's it called again?
Leap Motion.
Leap Motion. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll link that in the description below as well. I really wish pieces of equipment like that were actually used a little bit more. We always seem to default back to the same thing, which has been used for the past 10 years, and it's not doing us any favors. So thermal cameras, they're good, but they're still expensive. So it might be a bit of a no-go. The quality behind the good ones is not very good when you're at the low end of the financial restrictions on the price. When you go higher up in price, they get better, but only incrementally better. So hopefully the day's coming where they're closer to HD. That will make a world of difference. But until such a time, then no, there's nothing out there. Guys, finally watch out for something called Google. It's called Google Tango, or Project Tango by Google. They're actually building a Kinect style structured light sensor into the back of a phone now. So you can use your phone like a Kinect sensor. But again, I think there's only 2 phones on the market that do it at the moment.
Wow.
So that I think 2 phones came out and one of them was by LG, and you can use it to just map what's going on in a room. It's fantastic.
And it records it, obviously, correct?
Yeah, 100%. It records straight off. You just download any screen recorder as well. Screen recorders don't take up much space. So that's what I am.
Well, see, that's another piece of equipment it's more compact and everything else compared to walking around with, like, I got the Sony night vision and I hook it up with the brackets and everything else like that and put the lights up and that's a pain in the ass, to be honest with you, because it doesn't. The night vision, it doesn't really project that far.
Yeah.
You know, if it did project far, it's going to be real blurry what's on the end of it. So I mean, I've done that. But I wanted to ask you your take on not infrared, but full spectrum.
Now, full spectrum, I find full spectrum is really interesting. The thing with the full spectrum for me is full spectrum cameras, they deal with near infrared, full infrared, natural light, ultraviolet light as well. So they cover a massive, well, pretty much all the spectrum, as it's saying by full spectrum. So for that type of usage, it can see in those environments. But the thing that I don't really, or the thing that catches me out is because it's the jack of all trades, I don't believe it does every single aspect of what it could do properly. So it doesn't do infrared night vision properly, I don't think, in my opinion anyway. So all the cameras that I've got that are full spectrum, they're okay. My night vision cameras, they see far better because they were made, not adapted to do so. So the cameras were made to be night vision, not adapted to be night vision. So in my opinion, full spectrum is a bit of a 50-50.
50-50 on that. Yeah, because I mean, thinking about what I'm going back to the little leap, the little thing that you have.
Leap motion, this guy.
That if you're doing brick and ladder, bring that. Or if you're not, I mean, if you're not doing brick and ladder, you got to kind of minimize what you bring.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to really minimize what you bring, and there's many reasons why, but we won't get into that. We'll choose not to get into that right now. But yeah. So basically, I mean, pieces of kit. I mean, from my standpoint, I have your basic what you see on TV, and that's about it. I mean, it's just stuff that. And do I use it? I mean, I pick and choose what I'd use. You know, I especially with the FLIR 1. I love the FLIR 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to take that out to cemeteries and other places just to see what's out there. You know, whether it picks up animals or whether it picks up some anomaly, which I've yet to pick up. Yeah. Also, the 360 camera.
That's amazing.
And it's got low light. It's got low light on it, so it'll go down to a point. But I like to use that. You know, I go to battlefields and stuff like that, and I like using the Ricoh 360. That thing is tits. That's all I got to say on that.
As soon as I love that. Oh my god! As soon as a company comes out with a fantastic, really good 360 night vision camera, that's when this is all going to change. When you get a night vision camera that's full 360 where somebody can put on a VR headset, or even better, when it can live stream it, okay? You could turn an event that you would expect. Sorry, give me a second. When you turn an event that you pay £30 or £40 per person to go to, when you can turn that into a 360 camera event and load it up onto Twitch and charge people £4 each to watch, people will pay that. And genuinely, that's when it's going to change. It's when people start looking at how important technology is going to be over the coming few years and start looking at the equipment that's out there and looking at other things and thinking, hang on a second, that might come in useful for what I'm doing. That might streamline my kit, or my kit really needs that. So I don't, just to give people an example, I don't use a singing microphone or a vocal microphone to do the show that we're doing now. I've got a microphone dedicated for this, and I only use it for this. So at the end of this show, I will unpack the microphone that I use and put it away. So that guy there will get put away the second I've finished the show. The webcam that I'm watching on is an external webcam. That'll get put away after the show. I don't use that for anything else other than this. It's got its purpose. Its purpose was for me to do this. The laptop that I use this for is used for editing and uploading the show. It's used for making the posters and uploading posters, and that's pretty much it. So I have equipment the same as everybody else, which its sole purpose is to do one thing. So I didn't buy the laptop's not been retrofitted to do anything. It hasn't been modified, but in the same breath, it's everything I need. When I first started this show, I had mic stands everywhere, lights pointing at me, and you know what? I looked and I thought, it doesn't need to be that. And it's the same as the equipment you take out. It's the same as your working job. You would never take a full toolkit to put a screw in a wall. So if you've got one purpose, stick to that one purpose, name for it. That's my rant over.
Yep. Well, that was a pretty good rant. I mean, it's true, though. I mean, it's true. So, I don't know. I just, bottom line, I'm just at the point where you watch these shows and you watch these investigators, and they're on a budget where, yes, they can afford what maybe some of us can't.
Yeah.
And that's the point where, and I'm gonna go 360 on this, or a 180 depending on my math is horrible. It is the fact that you need a tech geek on your team. I mean, there's no question about it. If they can modify something, if they can look at something and say, hey, I can make it better, that's what you need.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the stuff like my REM pod, I'm not going to pick up anything on that unless somebody walks real close to it, or my REM my meter that's got a acts as a what does it do? It picks up EMF, picks up temperature, and then it's got a REM to it where I just press 2 buttons on the bottom. It goes into that mode.
Yeah.
But it's not. It. I don't know. It's just. I'm looking at it every time I go in the closet to get a shirt, going, why the hell do I have that? You know, I mean, yeah. I don't use that, except I am going to break out the Yeti microphone.
You need to. They're a fantastic microphone.
Yeah, but where I'm at right now, it's got Windows XP on it, believe it or not. It's got a Core i7, but
an i7 with XP.
Yeah, wow. It's got XP. Yeah, it definitely has XP on it.
I love it.
So it's a Windows 7. Actually, it's a Windows 7.
Ah, good.
But it will work with yeah. But I got a Windows 10 on my computer.
Yeah.
And the Yeti that I have won't work with that. It only goes up to 8.
Yeah, I'll fix that for you. Don't worry. I know what that is.
Okay, cool.
So before we go, because we're going to come at the end of the show now, guys. Before we go, the one other thing I'm going to say, and I want to do it over the course of the next month. So over the course of the next 4 shows, everybody who's watching and everybody who's part of a team, take a photograph of your equipment, or if you're any form of nerd, you've already got a photograph of your equipment, and send it in to us. So either send it to the email address, which is linked again below, or just catch us on Facebook on the group or on the page, and send us a picture of your equipment. And what we're going to do is, over the course of the next 4 weeks, we'll rate your setup, and the person we believe has got the best setup suited for what it is will get Elite Motion. So whether it's a Elite Motion sent from the UK or from the US, I'll make sure it gets out to you guys. So we're going to have that running now over the course of the next 4 weeks, and we'll finish it on the end of the 4th show. And then a couple of days after the 4th show, we'll announce who the winner's going to be. So starting now. So guys, have a great day. Kate, anything else you want to add?
No, everything. I mean, we hit it. We hit it. So,
cool. So don't buy crap. Stay off eBay. Don't do drugs. Otherwise, we'll investigate you when you die. Bye-bye.
Don't do fentanyl. I tell you what, Paul is known for that. Except Paul lives in Liverpool.
Yeah. Liverpool, we got nothing but ketamine.
Ketamine, is that the one you shoot up? Everybody's shooting up these days, or is that the elephant tranquilizer?
That's a horse, dude. Catch you soon, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.